Good evening. We are here with a couple of our Live Differently on Purpose coaches. They coach with the ULA framework. We first of all have Coach Wendy and Coach Rob with us tonight. And we're going to be talking about self care with Coach Rob here in just a little bit. But first of all, we would like to allow Coach Wendy to talk about the new book club that's going to begin tonight and tell you all about the book club for the ULA Book for Women. Coach Wendy, take it away.
Thank you, Kevin. Just wanted to pop on here and let any of you women know that Coach Amy Franks and I are starting a book club, and we really feel like we could all use more inspiration. These days, there's so much negativity, and we're like, how can we bring some positivity and some inspiration to women? Because so many of us feel like we really, really need it. So have started a book club, and this is going to be the first book that we're going to read. It is the ULA Find Balance for Women, and it's just full of inspiring stories from women. It's actually told that the women have written the stories in their own words about how they have overcome different obstacles in their life, wrapped around sort of one of the seven F's, and or blockers or accelerators. It's a very easy read, but it really speaks to your heart because these women are speaking from their heart. They're speaking from their own experiences. They're speaking from how they've overcome these things. And that is why we're doing this, is that we really want to inspire you and anybody else that is a woman that wants to join us in reading this book. We're doing it on a Zoom call, and we're starting this week. We also have a Facebook group, and you can get this book on Amazon as the easiest and the quickest, cheapest way to get it sent to your house. And we're just starting to read it this week. So it's not like you're behind if you're just joining with us now. So if you have any desire or you know somebody who could use some encouragement, please drop a note in the comments below and let us know that you're interested in being a part of this. And we will make sure that you get added, and we would so love to have you. So thank you for this opportunity, Kevin and Rob. I am going to be leaving you guys because we're getting ready for our book club.
Now, your book club does start tonight. Is that right, Wendy?
It's starting. We're having our first Zoom tonight, which is just our meet and greet. So, okay. Yep, you're welcome to hop on then or hop on anytime this week. You're welcome. You're not going to be too late to join us.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Wendy, and letting us all know about it. I know that that's going to be a special time for all the people that join in with that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
So, Coach Rob,
yes,
you
Coach
want
Kevin.
to talk about self-care. So can you tell us, what does self-care really mean? And, what are you talking about when you talk about self-care? Why is it so important?
So, the other day when we were deciding what to talk about, and I just really thought about, this is Valentine's Day week, and there's a lot of love talked about. But we don't really, I was really thinking about it, and I realized that I don't feel like we take a lot of time to talk about how we take care of ourselves and self-love. And I think that, the biggest Valentine's Day you can give yourself is loving yourself. And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of us are busy sometimes setting goals and accomplishing things. But like, how often do we have on our goal card that says, I'm going to look at myself in the mirror today and say, I love you, or I appreciate you. How often do we think about the things that we say to ourselves? All those things really can either build us up, nourish our souls, or those things can easily tear us down. Every decision we make in life, and everything we say or do can impact ourselves. So some examples could be, are you having a little extra treat because your meal because you think I deserve it? Well, is it once in a while or is it every meal? I'm a food addict, so I can justify any amount of that anytime I want. But then is it a problem, or are you really treating yourself? Do you know what I mean? Um, you're dieting and you're on this big fitness goal, and then you lost 20 pounds. Well, I deserve to have a big piece of chocolate cake now. Do you? Like, is that really taking the best care of yourself? Are you constantly impulsively eating or buying things that maybe aren't in your budget? Is that really showing yourself self-care? Because some of those things can cause stress, they can cause grief, they can cause you to say bad things about yourself. Are you not being authentic in your life as yourself? Are you comparing yourself to others? Are you saying yes to everybody? Are you what we call a yes person? Are you constantly worried about others' things? We don't really think about that as taking care of ourselves, but all these little things, especially in this crazy social media world, can cause us to think badly about ourselves. So instead, some things, and this is something that I've struggled with off and on my whole life, is really loving who I am and accepting me for who I am today. It's been a struggle. It's still not easy, but it's something that I totally have to work at and be very conscious about all the time. So some suggestions that have worked for me. There was a period of my life about 10, 11 years ago, a cousin of mine took his life. And it caused some extreme feelings in me. It was a very sad time. There was some other loss in that time. I was feeling definitely very sad and very, very down. And I had to really ask for help. Well, during that time, I was seeing a psychologist, and she was really working with me on it. And she taught me this little mantra or affirmation. And it was, I'm lovable and valuable because I am me. Something I love about myself is, and then you fill in the blank. And she told me, use that saying anytime you're feeling bad, anytime you have bad thoughts. And there were sometimes I did it like 50, 100 times a day because, the noise was so loud up there. Trying to make sense of my cousin taking his life. And it brought up so many other things for me. That is really kind of what changed the dime for me, because I was also going through a lot of anxiety. And I also realized that I was living a lot of my life for other people. And I was living a lot of it based upon other people's standards and not being true to me, because all those things really do tie into self-love. Something else that is powerful that I still struggle with, but is looking in the mirror and really looking at me, and telling myself, I love you. It doesn't cost anything to do it, but it's that mirror work. If you're interested in Louise Hay, she talks a lot about that, which is very, very powerful. Instead, like for me, instead of having that extra bite of food or that extra treat, maybe I'll go outside and take a walk. Maybe I'll go clean something. Like the other night, I decided to come to my office and start cleaning some stuff. Maybe it's getting up a little extra early in the morning to have some alone time for you. It doesn't have to be fancy. I know some people on Valentine's Day, they send themselves flowers, which, I think is a great idea. Some people like to journal, read your favorite inspirational book. I mean, there's so many things. And another thing a mentor taught me was about, a few times a day, either on your phone, in a notepad, or in a notebook, write down what your thoughts are, especially thoughts about yourself are. Because quite honestly, I don't think a lot of us would say anything we say to ourselves to actual people that we love. And sometimes I feel like I know I can be downright mean to me and so hard on me. And I think a lot of us fall into that. So it's just really about being conscious of your thoughts and about what you're feeding to yourself. Um, Maybe read your favorite inspirational book. Maybe it's the Bible. Maybe, I mean, there's so many other choices that we can do to really, really help. But I do challenge you to have a goal in your goal card that has to do with self-love. What does that look like for you? And that can be different for all of us, but it doesn't have to be fancy. And that's just my bigger message is we have to remember us in the equation, because as we're completing these goals and doing all these great things, we want to make sure that we're also taking care of ourselves at the same time.
That is awesome information. And such feeling behind a lot of that, Rob. I'm so sorry to hear about your cousin, and
Thank you.
that's a terrible thing to have to go through for anybody. Excuse me. Could you say that one more time? What you said? Someone said to you after that situation. What was it that she told you to say yourself? Could you repeat that for everyone?
Yeah. It's I am lovable and valuable because I am me. And something I love about myself is, and then you fill in the blank, whether it's I'm trusting, I'm loving, I'm dependable, whatever you come up with, that's positive about you.
Right. Yeah, that's totally powerful. And I totally have to agree that it is very important on a daily basis to look yourself in the mirror and appreciate what you see there. It's the only one you've got.
Yep.
You're not going to get another one
No.
except for who you become in the future.
Yep.
And so loving yourself where you're at, it's just where, it's just where you're at. It's not really who you are or who you're becoming, but learning to say, hey, I love you and I believe in you. And then thinking about what is the process I need to do to be able to be even more proud of myself. What would I need to do? And if you can imagine, if you will, all of the things that you've done in the past were back here on a blackboard, and you're not proud of some of those things. Maybe, you're looking back and every day you're looking at that list, and it's hard to look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. But it's important to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Because you have been through those things. You may not have made the right choices, but you are still alive and you lived through those circumstances. And at some point, once we can give ourselves the grace to actually forgive ourselves for not doing the things we think we should have done, when you really forgive yourself, you take an eraser and you just erase all that stuff back there. And you just let it go. Because there is nothing that we can do about it today that's going to help us move forward, right? We learn from it, but there's nothing we can do to change it.
Well, it kind of reminds me of a saying that I see once in a while. And what is it? I've lived through 100% of my hardest days.
Exactly. And so if you really can say that to yourself every day, your hardest days are behind you. Now you know better, and you're going to do better. Maybe not every day, but you're going to start taking action and moving forward. And you are going to love yourself more. You're going to find some kind of joy for yourself. Something like Rob was talking about, something you love to do. Find some kind of joy for yourself in every single day. Maybe it's taking a walk. Maybe it's reading a book that you really enjoy, like to read. Maybe it's meditating. Could be anything that you like to do just for yourself. Take time to do that, and don't let a day slip by that you're not doing something for yourself. And then, just like Rob suggested, being able to write down, maybe at the end of the day, what you're grateful for about yourself and actually celebrate what you did. Because you did it for yourself, to have that joy and celebrate that. That's part of living a life and not just existing. So we hope that these thoughts about self-care are helpful for all of you. And if you would like to find out more about how we help ourselves or how we can help you, please put some comments below this video and we'll get back to you just as soon as we can. And we always sign off with, be grateful, have faith, and go get your ULA life. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Kevin.